Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about one of my pet peeves, and that is comparing books. So just as a disclaimer, this is one of my personal pet peeves, something that irritates me. So if you do this, I do not mean any offense, and I don't hate you, I promise. It's something I can't really get over. Okay, so comparing books. This is something that I've seen happening over the years. People comparing books in a certain genre to one stand-up book that's quite well known, popular. For example, vampire books and Twilight, dystopian books and The Hunger Games, wizarding magical books to Harry Potter. Now, if it's a case of completely ripping off a book, that is a whole different story. That is plagiarism, which is not okay. You're stealing an idea and claiming it to be your own. So when the plot, story arc, characters, their progression and development, the setting, it's like really pretty much parallel, that's not okay. I'm not talking about like fairy tale retellings or retellings of like classical novels or any other novel for that fact, because it's obvious and made quite clear that there is a text that influenced it and those ideas aren't claimed to be original, they're just reworked. Okay, so getting back on track. The thing that irritates me is when people say one book is exactly like another when really it isn't, especially when the main or sole similarity is the genre or the subject matter. This whole thing about genre. So these books are grouped together because they have something in common. They have some similarities. That's how genre kind of works. It's the whole point. So when people base these judgments on the things that categorize books in a certain way, it's a little ridiculous because usually people are comparing things that are quite superficial or just surface level elements in a story. And when you really get into the core story and when you explore everything else, there's usually very little tying them together. There will of course be exceptions, like there are going to be rip-off books, but some stories are going to be similar to one more than another. But I'm talking in more of a general sense with this. So I decided to discuss this today though because I've been seeing it happen a lot recently with like newer release books. And when this is happening, the books haven't even been published yet. So the people making these comparisons haven't even had the opportunity to read the books. They're judging them from the cover, the title, the genre, the synopsis. It's just frustrating when people do this and say it's a total rip-off of a book when you haven't even read it. You just can't say that one thing is exactly like another without reading it. And even just going by the synopsis, like the synopsis is a general overview of the book. And sometimes you find that synopses can be like really misleading. The fact is that just people aren't reading the book and seeing what it's really about and then making these claims. An example of this happening recently that I've noticed is The Iron Trial by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare being compared to Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. So I think that people saying that a book is reminiscent of Harry Potter is actually quite flattering, because Harry Potter, in my opinion, is a fantastic series and so many people around the world, different ages, genders, backgrounds, experiences, everything, have consumed these books and enjoyed them. So when people say it kind of reminds them of Harry Potter, I think that's kind of a good thing, because they're not saying that the stories are the same. They're saying that like the feel of it, their reading experience is the same or similar. But it's the other side of things when people are saying that The Iron Trial is a rip-off of Harry Potter, when I don't agree with that. Okay, so in both books we have a boy. He has magical abilities. He goes off to a school of magic, and there is a threat in the world, an evil magical presence. Like, obviously it's going to be magical because it's a book about magic. But that's about it. The entire magic system, how magic works, how it's used and manipulated, totally different. The magic school itself, how it's run and organized, even kind of the hierarchy of it, totally different. And then the storyline, what is happening, why it is happening, the climax at the end of the story, totally, completely different. Granted, of course, there are going to be some similarities like character and plot archetypes. Those things, while some of them are specific to genre, some of them are specific to storytelling. So some stories in a similar genre will have some similarities, but even still, other fictions, things that are completely different, they would certainly have some similar character types and plot elements. But since it's not in like a middle grade, magical fantasy kind of setting, these things aren't compared. They cannot be compared. They're completely different. It's impossible. I think it comes down to the fact that nothing really is original anymore. Not completely anyway. Storytelling's been around for thousands of years and every idea's already been thought of. But the thing is that stories, they're a lot more complex than their ideas. There is so much more going on, and there are various different kinds of dynamics between different elements that make them unique in a way. It makes them their own story. I don't know, I think the main thing that I'm trying to say is I think it's a bit unfair comparing books in such a way that it makes it like a negative thing, especially when the person hasn't even read the book yet. You just can't make a huge claim like that when you haven't read it, you know? You haven't experienced the story. How the hell are you supposed to know what is going on just by a paragraph or two on the back of the book? No. I'm sure it's happened in the past where I've read a synopsis and thought to myself, oh, it kind of sounds like this book. But I'm not going to say that it's a complete rip-off without having read it first. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on that matter. I'm very curious to see if this is something that irritates you as much as it does with me. Maybe I'm alone here. And just, I don't know. You gotta give the book a chance first, you know? So I think that's about all I had to say about that matter. I'm pretty sure that I've forgotten to mention something that I really wanted to say, but I can't remember, so I'll probably just discuss it down in the comment section with you guys, so I'll talk to you there. And yeah, that's it. I will see you tomorrow. Bye! Just... shh. I'm hungry.